90% of people fail their fitness journey. That is a crazy number, isn't it? But research shows that 90% of resolutions are fitness related, and after only 3 months, only 10% think their resolutions will last. So why do we give up so easily? And how can we make sure that our goals not only last, but they're met? One of the first big traps that people fall into is they have an all or nothing mentality. And this definitely used to be me. Before I got into fitness, and I've been doing fitness for the last 6 years, but before I committed to it fully, I'd go for a stint of like a month of being really into it, and then I would fall off the wagon. And I'd continue that cycle year on year, getting into running, a little bit of like classes, just random stuff, and never really sticking to anything. But one of the most common things that I would do is I'd go so hard straight out of the gate, and I remember I'd be in so much pain, I'd have full body DOMs for so long, and I'd also try and overhaul my diet. I'd ridiculously restrict my calories and just go full send on all cylinders, and then crash and burn very quickly. And I'm not the only one. I am an online fitness coach, and I've worked with many clients that do this same pattern. And part of it is they get really excited and they're like, this is going to be my chance. I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to train X amount of days a week and it's going to happen. But inevitably, the amount of training they've planned actually isn't sustainable. It doesn't fit with their lifestyle. Maybe they don't enjoy it. They're seeing it as a punishment. It just isn't the right fit. We need to take a much more slow and steady and sustainable approach, especially if you're a beginner or someone that's just getting back to it. And leading on from that, a lot of people have really ridiculous, unrealistic expectations, and they fall into trends. 75 hard is a really big example of this. I've done a whole video on it, but it boils down to the fact that it's so problematic that you have to train twice a day for 75 days in a row with 0 rest days. And if you take a single rest day, then you have to start the whole thing over again. Most people are going to fail that, and it's stupid. No personal trainer in their right mind would recommend that you work out every single day, not even for a week, let alone 75 days. Your body actually needs rest days in order to recover and replenish your muscles. You need rest days to get better, to get fitter. And training double days as well, right at the start of your fitness journey or when you're just getting back into it, terrible idea. At one point I trained twice a day, but I was a competitive level athlete, and that was still really hard. Just don't do that. A reasonable amount of time to train if you're a beginner is like 2 to 3 times a week, and if you're finding that easy, then bump it up from there. Don't start with a 7-day-a-week program. And it's not your fault that you've been sucked into this. It is the trend spinning social media, which leads me on to my next point. People follow trends over what works because what works isn't that sexy. What we're actually taught as personal trainers, which is sustainable approaches, they're not trendy. They don't rank on your For You page. It's much harder to make a viral video out of something that is just the regular, normal, boring way of doing things. At the end of the day, a lot of the basic knowledge that we're given, especially in the UK where we have the NHS, and it advises you how much you need to exercise and what you need to eat, all of that knowledge is good. There's nothing wrong with that knowledge. But all of these people on TikTok kind of muddy the water and make it seem a lot more complicated than it actually is. So if you can do anything for your fitness journey, just stop jumping on the latest trend. Another thing that people do is they jump on unnecessary restrictive fad diets. This is partly because they confuse getting healthy with weight loss. You don't necessarily have to lose weight in order to improve your health markers, and losing weight will not necessarily make you healthy. It's actually been shown that healthy habits have more of an impact on your health and mortality rate than your weight, which is crazy. Someone with a BMI of over 30 but 4 or more healthy habits has a lower mortality rate than somebody with a BMI that is in the healthy range but only has 2 healthy habits. So you're much better focusing on healthy habits as a whole than jumping on the next restrictive fad diet. And this includes stuff like the carnivore diet, keto, paleo, intermittent fasting, any of the ones that cut out huge food groups, demonize certain foods. It's bad for you and it can lead to disordered eating. And that's something I have a lot of experience in. I've got an eating disorder. I've had a lot of support through my eating disorder recovery, and restrictive fad diets are not the way to go if you're looking for health. it can cause a difficult relationship with food and a difficult relationship with your body. And the reason that this leads to people failing their fitness journey is because they get so disheartened when they can't stick to it. And obviously they can't stick to it because it is damaging their health in lots of ways. I went through a phase where I did keto, and I actually ended up having to go to the doctors because my carbohydrates were so low and it was causing all sorts of health issues, and they told me to stop doing it. And I didn't want to because I hadn't lost the amount of weight that I wanted to lose. And because all of these people online said it was really good for me, but I was wrong. And of course my body was craving carbs when I was depriving it of carbs. Your brain literally needs carbs. I know I've just gone on a whole rant there. I feel very passionately about that one. But going on restrictive fad diets is literally setting yourself up to fail. So don't do that. Next, people really don't plan for when life gets in the way. They expect to have the same amount of time as they did right at the start, but they don't plan for things that come up. Someone in your family might get sick. Your job might need a little bit more attention. Or when you just get back into routine, things get harder. With my clients, we often work on what's called a bare minimum week. So you have a look at what you could fit in at the bare minimum within your week. How could you hit your movement goals, get in all the veggies that you want to get in, the nutrients that your body needs, drink enough water? What is the bare minimum of that? How could you meet that when you're completely exhausted? And then when you plan for lots of different eventualities, you've got that to fall back on. Maybe most of the time you operate at a higher level and you can achieve more than that, but at least you can fall back to the bare minimum instead of just stopping completely and failing and then not wanting to get back to it. Next, people often base their fitness journey around following body trends or trying to make their body look like somebody else's. This can create issues like body dysmorphia, and also people's bodies are different shapes and sizes. Genetics play a massive factor into that, and some people have been training for years and other people have just started. We can't expect our body to change so drastically, and also we can't craft and sculpt our body to look exactly as we want it. I used to think that we could back when I was in my eating disorder, but I realise now that I was wrong to think that, and that just caused more damage to my health and well-being. I personally recommend focusing on more performance-based goals. So you could focus on your strength, like are you PBing your lifts? Are you lifting more weight in the gym? Maybe on your confidence, have you overcome some gym anxiety? Do you know how to perform more movements? Has your technique improved? Can you use more machinery than you used to be able to? And what about your cardio? Has your cardiovascular fitness improved? Can you run for longer? Can you bike for longer? Those are things to really be proud of and really hang on to because they have a major impact on your health. But the way your body looks does not necessarily have an impact on your health. That is just a beauty standard mostly created by the fitness industry, based off of fitness models that spend their whole day training to look a certain way that isn't actually based on physical fitness or performance as a whole. So just focus on like actual fitness and health and strength and other markers that you're interested in tracking, and avoid the body comparison if you can. A lot of people rely on motivation, and I get this a lot. People say to me, you must be so motivated, but I'm literally not. Like most of the time I think I am just mentally ill and I need this to support my mental health. Like that's the reason I train, because if I don't train, my mental health will get really bad. It's not motivation, it's like necessity. But you don't need to be in that headspace either. You actually just don't need to rely on motivation. There's something called the motivation action cycle, and you can literally start with action and then motivation might arrive when you turn up and you're halfway through the workout. That often happens for me. Choose the path of least resistance. Not everybody enjoys exercise, but find something that maybe you enjoy, or maybe something that's just easier for you. Something that you can do with very little effort and is something you maybe mildly enjoy, or even you just enjoy the feeling afterwards. And get moving, and you'll probably feel motivated once you get there, or maybe once you finish. You can also record a load of the things that you found good about it, so next time you feel like you don't want to go, you can remind yourself. So you won't feel like you're going to fail your fitness journey because all your motivation is gone, because we don't need to rely on that. If you enjoyed this video and you're curious on my ranty take on 75 hard, then watch this video next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!